Hello, welcome to another edition of Affirm Life. I'm so glad you're tuning in. Today's theme is spreading the gospel. And you know what I've been thinking about lately? Bacon. I just love bacon. And shrimp. Oh, bacon wrap shrimp. Oh my gosh, it's so good. And ham. Oh, I just love ham. So you might be thinking, Pastor Melody, why are you talking about food when the theme is spreading of the gospel? Well, let's read our verses for today, and then we'll talk about how those two things are related. Our verses come from Acts chapter 10, verses 9 through 20, and 34 and 35. So let's read them. At noon on the following day, as their journey brought them close to the city, Peter went up to the roof to pray. He became hungry and wanted to eat. While others were preparing the meal, he had a visionary experience. He saw heaven open up and something like a huge linen sheet being lowered to the earth by its four corners. Inside the sheet were all kinds of four-legged animals, reptiles, and wild birds. A voice told him, "Get up, Peter, kill and eat." Peter exclaimed, "Absolutely not, Lord. I have never eaten anything impure or unclean." The voice spoke a second time. "Never consider unclean what God has made pure." This happened 3 times. Then the object was suddenly pulled back into heaven. Peter was bewildered about the meaning of the vision. Just then, the messenger sent by Cornelius discovered the whereabouts of Simon's house and arrived at the gates. Coming out, they inquired whether Simon, known as Peter, was a guest there. While Peter was brooding over the vision, the Spirit interrupted him. "Look, 3 people are looking for you. Go downstairs. Don't ask questions, just go with them because I have sent them." So Peter went downstairs and told them, "I am the one you are looking for." Now verses 34 and 35. Peter said, "I am really learning that God does not show partiality to one group of people over another. Rather, in every nation, whomever worships him and does what is right is acceptable to him." So let me give you some insight into these verses before we really dive deep into this. So Acts was what happened to this Jewish community and the disciples after Jesus came, died, rose again, and then ascended into heaven. So it is the Acts of the Apostles, what happened next. And Jesus came really to this small group of Jewish people. They were Jews. They followed the Jewish law. They worshiped in the synagogue and in temples. They were Jews. And one of the things they followed was to eat what Jews were supposed to eat. And that wasn't hoofed animals like pigs. They weren't allowed to eat bacon and ham. It was just against what they were called to do. So they were also called to do something special. They were called to spread this good news of Jesus Christ. And so they started going out beyond the Jewish community. And then that's when things got kind of sticky. You started thinking about, well, do they need to be Jews before they are Christian? And all kinds of questions came up. And one of that was about food. Did these now Christian people that were never Jews to begin with have to follow the Jewish law? And it came to a vision in Peter. That's where we get this vision of this blanket being lowered and all these animals on it. And God saying, I have made all animals clean. In this sense, God was saying, all are welcome to this good news. I have sent my son Jesus for all people, so all may know and have this relationship with me through Jesus. And that is what spread the gospel from there on out. Jesus had come to fulfill the law. Therefore, all these certain rules that people followed as Jews are no longer having to be followed, having to restrict them from hearing the gospel. That they don't have to follow these laws in order to hear that Jesus Christ died for them. And that is the most important thing when it comes to the spread of the gospel, that Jesus has come for all. Jesus has died for all. Jesus wants a relationship with all. And that's the most important thing, folks, that the spread of the gospel is for all. So what does that mean for us today? It means that we are still called to those same thing that the first disciples were called to share that good news of Jesus Christ. Well, right now we're kind of trapped at home and we really need good news. So what is some good news that you are experiencing right now? Oh, let me mention that the word gospel also means good news. One of my favorite actors, John Krasinski, is doing a news thing through YouTube called Some Good News. And I would ask you to go check it out. It's great things that are happening around our country, around the world, when we need a little bit of good news. So what is some good news happening in your life? How can you share that good news of Jesus Christ with others? That is what we're called to do. So today, I would like you to share some good news with us. In our newsletter coming up, we want to highlight all this good news that is happening within our community, within our church. So please come share the good news and check out the good news around you. God bless and have a great week.